You are watching Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes on IndimentsLive.com.
Good morning, and welcome to Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes. My name is Tristan Marshall, and I attend South Grand Prairie High School. Due to the high demand by its huge audience, Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes, an award-winning CNN talk radio program, has grown to an extent that it naturally progressed to internet, TV, and radio, the future of media production. That's why the program partnered with IndimentsLive.com. Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes has already been recognized and received numerous media awards for its unique approach for disseminating critical and essential business information and for bridging commerce and culture. The program has acquired a reputation for delivering timely, meaningful, current, and accurate data. Thus, the program has a proven history for being reliable and consequently has become a trustworthy resource for the business community since 2005. If your friends missed today's program, please let them know that it will be rebroadcast every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. and every Thursday morning at 11 a.m., both Central Standard Time. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce our host, Mr. Eddie Reyes, and his new co-host, Miss Rebecca Hicks and Miss Raquel Olivier.
Welcome to Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking time out. Get your cup of coffee, get it ready, or your hot tea. Get your pencil and paper if you want, or sit in front of the computer because we've got a great program for you this morning with a lot of information. In particular, if you are a business owner, minority business owner, woman business owner, or veteran business owner, we are about enhancing our media with information that can elevate your business. That's what we do. And we bring information that ordinarily sometimes may be difficult to find, or where do I look, and we automatically disseminate it to you. We have a lot of fun doing that. We have tremendous relationships in the community, and so that's why we're able to bring tremendous insightful guests such as we have today. However, before we get started, we're going to have a little fun. We laugh a lot, so bear with us. I do want to introduce my fabulous co-host, Ms. Raquel Olivier. And for you new viewers, we're going to talk a little bit about what we all do. So Raquel, please let us know a little bit about you.
Well, thanks, Eddie, and good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
Raquel Olivier with Olivier Inc. Our company specializes in program management services, document controls, cost controls, contract administration. We focus primarily in the construction industry. We've been very fortunate to do business with NTTA. Looking forward to doing business with the city of Arlington. I happen to be a CPA, been a CPA for over 15 years, and really kind of fell into the opportunity to work in this wonderful industry. Thanks, Eddie.
You're welcome. Thanks. That was good to know because I'm sure hopefully there's some folks out there that can use your expertise. I'm Eddie Reyes, your host, and I retired from the University of North Texas after 9+ years as Director of Hub Administration. Briefly, my job was to go out there and recruit women and minority business owners and help them navigate the procurement process for the University of North Texas. In other words, how do I sell my widget to UNT? And my job was to help you with that. Put you in contact with the right person, educate on how the process works. Not only that, but equally introduce you to other colleagues, such as we have today, about not only just doing business with UNT, but doing business with the toll road, the North Texas Tollway Authority, or with the city of Arlington. We all do the same thing pretty much. We may have different titles, but our aim is the same. The one thing that I've always said about our guests on our show is that above and beyond doing the job description, what the responsibilities are, part of that does never show is the passion in which they carry out those responsibilities. That in itself says a lot, not only about the wisdom of the entities that hired them, but it says a lot about where their heart is. Because anyone can say, hey, go to the website and learn how to do that. These individuals today will take the time out, they'll talk to you, we have so many questions. I myself went through that, Raquel has been through that. Who do I talk to about this? When is it available? So, again, our guests are not only well qualified, but they're passionate about their job. They've been doing it for so long, they understand it. The ability to relate is so key and critical in this business, in this important area where you're about to want to learn how to do business with these entities. So enough about that. Let's get on to our guests. Get your pencils ready, get your pens ready, get your coffee ready. My two guests, and again, I'm very fortunate, actually my colleagues, if you will, and friends, even better than that. I have Mr. Anthony Coleman from the North Texas Tollway Authority, and Mr. Reginald Cleveland from the city of Arlington. And I'm going to start with Anthony and let him introduce himself, what his title is, how many years he's been with the Tollway and North Texas Tollway Authority, and also what you've done in the past. So Anthony, welcome to the show. Let us know about you.
Thank you very much, Eddie. I'm happy to be here today. I'm Anthony Coleman. My title at the NTTA is Director of Business Diversity. I've been with the Tollway almost 5 years. It will be 5 years in December. Prior to that, I worked for the city of Dallas for over 25 years. I was actively involved in the Business Diversity Department as well as the Economic Development Department. And I gained a lot of experience that I was able to bring forward with me to the North Texas Tollway Authority.
You are too young to have 25 years anyway.
Exactly.
And speaking to another young man over here, Reginald, please tell us a little bit about you and your background and what you're currently doing. What is your title?
Thank you, Eddie. I'm currently the MWB coordinator for the City of Arlington.
Okay, and what is NWB? Because we all use the acronyms and
Yes,
our
I
viewers.
remember
And what is that?
MWB stands for Minority Women Business Enterprise. And so my role is very similar to Anthony in that I'm there to provide assistance to really the business community in regards to doing business with the City of Arlington, but with the emphasis on Arlington-based as well as MWBE companies.
Got it. And for our viewers to know I would help our vendors at the University of North Texas, and I would also let them know that just because you do business with one state agency, which the university was a state agency, doesn't mean that all the other state agencies do business the same way. So you may learn how to do business with the University of North Texas, but the University of Texas at Arlington or the University of Texas at Dallas may do it differently. So just as you get to know all the answers, they change the questions, right? So in any event, these two great individuals are in a position that they can guide you. They can offer advice of how best to position yourself to hopefully do business with these entities. So we're going to talk a little bit about, even though they're both government entities, they look for different things because of just what their entities do. So Anthony, I'm going to start with you and tell us a little bit about the type of vendors that you're looking for specifically and how best way for them to contact you or register with you. So let's talk about that.
Thank you, Eddie. The heavy highway industry is an industry that is somewhat specialized. So one of the primary objectives that we want to do with our vendor community is to make them aware of what the requirements are up front. I think it's very important that we don't build false expectations, specifically for smaller businesses. We want to make sure that they know what the requirements are going in up front so they can better determine whether or not those particular opportunities are ones they would like to pursue. One of the things I'm very proud of that we do from an informational perspective, on the second Wednesday of each month, we have what we call our business chat sessions. In those sessions, it allows vendors to come in to meet the key players with the various departments who are the owners of those individual contracts. So they can talk about what the requirements are in advance of the time these specifications or the bids actually hit the street. It can allow them the opportunity to find out what the bonding requirements are, what the insurance requirements are, whether or not they want to maybe work with another vendor to combine their efforts to try to be able to respond to the request. Again, it's important that the information is shared as early in the process as possible. So that's one of the things we try to do, Eddie, and also let them know they have an advocate in the organization. if the questions that they need to have answered, we can carry the questions forward to the various departments to get the responses that they may need.
Wow, and I want to come back to you about the specific vendors that you do, because you are very specific in what you guys do, which is toll roads or which is the highway construction, heavy construction. Unlike Reginald, tell us a little bit about the city and all the things that you buy or just hit, because y'all buy a wide variety of commodities and you use professional services as well. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Correct. When it comes to the city, you are talking about a wide, diverse departments that make up and run and operate the duties. And so you're looking at various different suppliers. You're also looking at service providers from the standpoint of maybe accounting services or human resources. There are times where we will have needs for professional services. We also, as you can imagine, being a city, we have roads, we have facilities, and so those are need for construction. There are times where we're going to be needing for design for long-term and even short-term facility or road work. And so we have a variety of needs that a supplier can provide to the city. And we actually have, and you hear about it on the website, but our website can be very beneficial from the standpoint of we actually list out what's called an annual contract listing, which shows for those in definitely the goods and service arena what projects we have out right now and when time frame wise when they end and begin, so then they can put themselves in the best position possible for when that project comes out. Also, we have a 6 months forecast which shows out from for this time period, September through March 2014, what procurement, what construction projects that are going to be going out in the near future. So then again, put them in a position so that they can be better prepared when the project comes available.
Okay. Okay.
Well, one of the things that I have to highlight with the NTTA, I have been very, very fortunate to attend some of the pre-bid conferences that you all have had and some of the symposiums that you all have gone out and brought in some expert persons to discuss MWBE participation and how to get more participation at the NTTA. And one of the things that I can actually speak to is that with one of the pre-bids that you all had, I was able to network right there in the pre-bid and get on one of the contracts for NTTA. Now that relationship, I know that most folks don't really recognize that just one opportunity can come into more opportunities. And right now, the same client that I worked with NTTA, I'm now on 2 or 3 other projects with them because of the inroads made by the NTTA opportunity. So I want to commend you all, and I see your team out and about all the time. And you all have a great team effort. I know yourself and some of the other players that are in the diversity community, they're always out at the different organization and association meetings, supporting, finding other vendors to connect with the NTTA and bring them in, get them the information, get them into the email distribution stream. And that's been very, very helpful for my business. And I'm hoping, even in this discussion, that it will help your efforts to continue those particular opportunities and outreach events, and to share with our other colleague here at the City of Arlington. It appears from our discussion prior to the broadcast that he's wanting to develop some programs and get some more insight on bringing vetted firms into his database.
Correct.
So
That's a great question. Great point that we are going to take a few minutes to break away, pay a few bills. We'll come right back, but really would like for you to respond to what Raquel said, because you guys do a great job.
yes, we do.
You are watching Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes on In the Mix Live, and like I said, we're going to cut away for a few seconds, and we'll be right back after this. Don't go away. Thank you.
Well, we procure some of everything. NTTA has full service departments ranging from communications, maintenance department, project delivery. So there are a lot of different commodities. So we definitely encourage all businesses to get registered with us as a vendor. That will be step one, as LaRonda mentioned, on our website, ntta.org. So I don't want to limit the opportunities because we have a range of different departments and a lot of different opportunities. So if you have a business, we do encourage you to get registered with us and find out how you can do business with us.
There's a lot of businesses that would wonder how to do business with Tollway Authority.
We have all of our listings for our current projects on our website, which is ntta.org. Go under procurement, and then you have all of our opportunities there. Always listen to Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on InTheMixLive.com.
Thank you, ladies, and thank you for watching, and we'll be back.
And we're back. Thank you again for watching. You are watching Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes, my fabulous co-host Raquel Olivier. So Anthony, we were talking about some of the community engagement that you guys do. You have a very strong team, by the way, and it is a positive thing to see. In a time that many entities are cutting back in their community engagement, you guys seem to be going the opposite direction. That says a lot about your philosophy and embracing the minority, the small business community out there. So talk a little bit about that.
Thank you, Eddie. I think that commitment starts at the top. We have a board of directors that is supportive of the inclusion of DMWBEs in our procurement and contracting areas. So we have support from the board. We have a new director of procurement and business diversity, Felix Alvarez, who's also very supportive of our efforts, and it allows us the opportunity to be able to get out and be involved in the community efforts. Our basic philosophy is that you can't take advantage of an opportunity that you're not aware of. So we want to make sure that persons have an opportunity to be informed, and particularly as it relates to small businesses, you have to be informed in a timely enough manner where you can have an opportunity to respond to the particular procurement.
Good point. So talk about, I love your story for our viewers to understand that it's just not construction, but it's specific construction skills that your company can produce or do, and particularly as it comes to the highway and roadway. So talk about, I love that story that you talk about that one vendor.
Very good, and we always very proud to share this story. You're correct. The heavy highway industry is one that, because of the size and the scope of the projects, we're talking millions of dollars. Smaller companies cannot participate directly as it relates to those particular projects. However, what we have tried to do is to be strategic about finding those smaller components of those larger contracts where a smaller company may be able to participate. One of the terms that I've heard used today is relationships, and relationships are so important. One of the primary programs that we have at the NTTA is the ROLE program, and it's the acronym for Relationships and Opportunities Advancing Diversity. We had a young lady who is a part of our ROLE program. Her partner on this particular project is the Granite Construction that's actively involved in the Chisholm Trail project, which is in Tarrant County. Ms. Bradley, the name of her company is Bradley Douglas Construction, as a result of her relationship was able to develop a skill set known as RIP-RAP. And that particular skill set directly deals with the concrete that's poured on the bridges. It's the slanted portion of the concrete. It's very specialized. However, it's a component that is required for all bridge construction. Again, because of the relationship with Granite, she was taught the skill set and now has been very successful in performing that skill set on our project in Chisholm Trail, as well as other projects that Granite has performed outside of the NTTA.
Wow.
So as Raquel referenced earlier, the development of those relationships, it kind of builds on itself, because those opportunities not only are relevant to the NTTA, but other highway-related activities within our region.
So
I'm sorry.
I was just going to quickly say that the concrete that's poured, so when my good viewers are on the highway and they see the bridge and how it's curved and that concrete, That's kind of the things that she does, and not everyone can do that. Just because you pour concrete doesn't mean that you can do that, and that's the skill set that you're talking about, where they do very specialized forming of the concrete or pouring of the concrete, correct?
Yes, sir. That's
So
exactly
that is exactly right. I'm sorry, Raquel, please.
Oh, no, the only thing that I wanted to highlight was that the opportunity was given so that the skills can come out. So it just so happened that this particular person is a female, just so happened that this person is of minority descent. The skills is what really is selling and perpetuating the business opportunities, but she's had to get the initial opportunity through the efforts of the MWBE program. And so I want to at least strike out that with you all encouraging all this participation,
Correct.
it gives other minority firms and women-owned businesses the opportunities to get out there and display their talent.
And if I could just add this one of this is very true. The other thing that it does for us though as an office, it allows us to be more aggressive as it relates to the goals that we established. Now we have a skill set that was not a part of the equation. In the past, it's all based on availability. If you didn't have the availability of persons in that particular skill set, then that skill set could not be considered as a part of your formula, if you will, that's utilized to establish goals. Now, Rip Rap Construction is one where we can incorporate because we have the availability, we have a person that's ready, willing, and able to respond, so we can use that, again, to help be more aggressive and realistic in our expectations as it relates to setting the DBE goals on the various projects that we're involved in.
Reginald, I want to go to you, but first let me be able to connect with our viewers and some of the things. For example, when I was at the University of Texas, we did have research, we had labs. And one of the most challenging areas to find minority and women-owned vendors were in that particular industry that sold medical supplies, that sold very specific, high-dollar, for example, microscopes. They're $5,000, the type that we use, and you don't carry that on your inventory. And so identifying and assisting those very few women and minority vendors that were in the medical supply, that was something that gave us the opportunity to really enhance and give them the opportunity to be able to deliver that product. So you're right, it is not only about saying, okay, go to the website and there it is, but equally it's that whole relationship and understanding. It is mentoring, if you will, and that's exactly what you guys do. On the other hand, I know that City of Arlington is very active. Deborah, and you may want to talk a little bit about her, she's wonderful. I know that in my previous experience, both as serving on the board of directors of the Arlington Hispanic Chamber and as chairman of the Grand Prairie Hispanic Chamber later on, she was such a resource for our members and came out and talked to our chambers at the chamber luncheons about just how do you do business and really hit those points where she sees that some of the smaller businesses have challenges. So she was incredibly insightful in helping those. And so that's really key because equally you guys are excellent about doing community engagement. So talk a little bit about that and perhaps even address some of the challenges that you see from the smaller businesses in trying to do business with the City of Arlington.
Okay. Well, I definitely have to give credit to Ms. Deborah Twine, who really I worked with a number of years while I was with Tarrant County College, and one of the efforts she was trying to do was trying to bring upon the City of Arlington establishing a MWBE program, but starting at a small scale. And so really I have to really give her a lot of the credit for really bringing me on board and moving us in the direction that we're going. But back to your point, Eddie, prior to me and moving forward now, we really do make an effort in this one that is more philosophical and important is to really get ourselves out there to really promote City of Arlington. Even though people know that we're out there, they know that there's opportunities available, but there's always that fear that comes with doing business with the city. There's always the impression that only larger companies have the opportunities. And by making yourself available, hopefully in time it kind of demystify and to eliminate that either that stereotype or that fear that comes with it. So the more that they see a person, hopefully as such, that gives them that courage to be able to ask those important questions. And we have in place on our end, once every first Friday, a monthly supplier meeting, and it's a very informal, meeting where any vendors interested in doing business with the city of Arlington can have an opportunity to come in and really pose questions. We have our purchasing agents there, and actually it's been going on for now 2 years, and starting in November, the Arlington ISD is going to actually be joining us, so they'll provide a vendor opportunity to not only learn about doing business in the city of Arlington, but also the independent school district. So for those who have particular skill sets that would be greatly beneficial to a school district, that provides them that incentive, hopefully, to really branch out and look at both the city of Arlington and ISD as potential clients.
That's great vision. That's great. It really offers that much more opportunity for that vendor. I know that it is about relationships, and sometimes I have a saying that your network is your net worth, and that is so true, and good people like you make that happen, because again, anybody can say go to the website, but even if we go there, you're going to have questions and it's always nice to have an individual that you can relate to and say, I need help in this area. I will tell you, and I have to confess, that I did so many trade shows in my 9+ years that some of the vendors are in a certain industry that are very repetitive, and so the competition's enormous. So you hear the vendors come up to you and say, I'm in this field and this is what I do, over and over and over. And if you're not prepared to hear 20 vendors that are in the same field coming to you and say, we're the best to do this, then you should be in that business, because that is part of our responsibility. And they are small businesses, and that is their livelihood. So I get it, I understand. I do want to say this, we got to go to break here in a minute, but I do want to mention that both Deborah and Sharon Douglas are veterans. They served our military proudly. I'm proud of them. Thank you for serving your country. Sharon and Deborah, we really appreciate it, because then it also helps understand we know where your heart is. We know where your heart is. It also shows that these two great entities embrace all of that, and thank you very much for doing so. You are watching Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes on In the Mix Live. We're going to cut away for a couple of minutes. Don't go away. Warm up that cup of coffee, that hot chocolate, that hot tea. You're making some hot cakes this morning. Save some for us. We'll be over. Let us know. You are watching Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes on InTheMixLive.com, and we'll be right back.
I have the pleasure of being the superintendent of the greatest school district in the state of Texas. Students can choose to audition for the Fine Arts Academy, where they can participate in 7 different strands of the fine arts in a very rigorous academic environment. Students can choose to apply for Dubisky Career High School, where they can participate and learn in any one of 5 schools within a school to become work ready and college ready. These are just a few of the opportunities that our students and our parents will find in Grand Prairie ISD. Anyone can check out everything we have to offer at www.gpisd.org.
DFW Studio 8. That's where all the artists that you've been here before, you understand it, you've met her, you've seen her, you understand everything that goes on here. And if you don't, you need to check out dfwstudio8.com. Phone number is 469-212-7001. Definitely, my name is Buddha. I am the sound engineer, and you will be dealing with me directly. I hope to see you guys soon. DFW Studio 8. Check us at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everything you can think of. If you're an artist, you're a poet, if you like to do audiobooks, if you're a professional company, anything that it may be, we have all the audio services to offer. dfwstudio8.com.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Lady D, the host of Keeping It Real with Lady D. And I want y'all to remember that my show is all about teen-friendly fun, teen-friendly videos, and teen-friendly gossip and entertainment. And just think, what if teens ruled the world? What would it be like? So, here's a way for y'all to get in contact with me and my show hosts. You guys can go to Twitter and follow us at IDML2012. Also, subscribe to YouTube at In The Mix Live. And go to Facebook and search In The Mix Live also. So, to promote your talent or business, log on to InTheMixLive.com and go to our contact page so you guys can get in contact with Lady D and Diamond. See you guys later.
loose cannon. What's up, everybody? We're back. DFW Studio 8. It's your boy J.O. wrapping up the Loose Cannon album. Everything's being done here. Mixing, mastering, packaging, graphics. This is the place you need to be, people. I'm telling you, from the moment I laid down the verse to the moment that the CD gets into your hands, it's all being done here. DFWstudio8.com. Catch them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the networks. You know where it is.
Welcome back to Diversity in Action with Eddie Reyes. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Don't forget that if your friends miss this show, then you can watch it again on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time or Thursday morning at 11 a.m. on Central Standard Time. We also archive these shows for a whole month. So please, and again, thank you for joining us. Raquel, we took a break and we were talking about that. What was your question that you'd like to ask both our guests this morning?
Well, both of you, of course, I know that when we were talking earlier, Anthony mentioned about how when you develop a skill set, and now you know that that can be something you can promote and be aggressive with your goal setting. I want to talk about what is the approach that you guys take in setting goals, and are you going to get to a 40-50% goal setting so that other people can get some additional opportunities?
Well, that's a great question, and I think that our trends are increasing as we go forward as it relates to our goals. However, one of the things that was brought forward this morning is the fact that a lot of the activities and skill sets associated with highway construction are somewhat specialized. The goals, our initial premise was the baseline was used. We had availability and disparity study that was done that kind of established the baseline for the availability. Now, that changes, it almost changes with each individual procurement because each contract is different. The skill sets that are required to produce those activities are different. So we have to look at each individual contract. So we establish goals on a contract by contract basis, driven by the availability of scopes of work that are available from a subcontracting perspective as to how we establish the goals. To answer your question directly, I think we do anticipate increasing the goals as we go forward based on the availability of persons that can do the work. We talked earlier about the skill set that in the past was not available. Well, as we go forward, we want to make sure that we increase those other skill sets, not only just in that rip-rap area, but other areas as well. And our intent is to to be realistic, however aggressive as to how we establish our goals, because we want to be able to have a methodology in place to support in the event that the goals are challenged or questioned, that we're in a position to be able to defend while we set the goals where they're being set.
So, hang on one second, Reginald. So then the goals are set by each project, as opposed to like when I worked at the university, it was set by the state. So you guys address it by project, correct? Because of the skill sets that are needed for that particular project.
That is correct.
Okay. So it's not an annual goal. It is by project, by project, by project.
That is correct.
Okay.
The only I think point I want to make here also is that if federal dollars are involved, then there are goals that are established based on the federal requirements. However, we are also it has been the tendency of NTTA to be able to increase that goal based from a minority perspective, which is the local participation. And so we've kind of added onto the diversity DBE goal, if you will, that's established by the state.
Got it.
That's awesome.
Reginald?
At this time, the city of Arlington you're really moving to establish our MWB in local policy, and so we do not have goals at this time. We are going to be starting baby steps, eventually moving to where we're going to really emphasizing our good faith effort program. So we're going to be really encouraging a lot of our prime contractors to consider both local and MWE firms' participation in the projects. I've been fortunate enough to find that we do have a healthy number of companies already, MWEs, who are bidding projects as primes itself, and that they are actually tracking mechanisms both at the beginning part of the project and at the ending. But again, because of the fact this is a new initiative that the city is embarking upon. They have not really looked into, as far as on the spending aspect of it, how much has actually been spent with both the prime contractors as well as the subcontractors. So that's one of the things that we're going to be moving to in the very near future.
So, unlike when my experience with the state, working with the University of North Texas, just for our viewers to know, the state sets the goals for these state agencies. So for an example, I know I was often asked, well, how many dollars are you spending with the African American community, or the Hispanic community, or the Native American Indian community, or the Asian community, or women? And so it's not necessarily, we can get those numbers, but the way the state does it, and it's done based on a 10-year disparity study, is they break it down by different categories in terms of goals. So for example, if you're in construction, the state says that 26% of our dollars at the University of North Texas has to go, not has to go, but we have to do a good faith effort in spending 26% of our construction budget with minority women vendors. Another category would be commodities. The state says that 13% of all the dollars spent by state agencies should be for commodities. And commodities are huge, your largest category, in that it includes food, computers, you name it. It all falls under promotional items. A lot of promotional companies, landscaping, all those things. But then we also have professional services. We use attorneys, we use doctors, we use CPAs. So those are professional services, and that's another goal for using professional services. So most often, if the community doesn't know any better, they just fixate on how many dollars you're spending with the African American community. So my whole point, or Hispanics. So my whole point is, within the construction, if we're spending 26% of that should be going to minority women, then we can look within that category to say, okay, of the 26% that we spent, 15% went to African American construction companies, 8% went to Hispanics, and so on and so forth. So it kind of, and I say that because as we are in the business and we talk to the community out there, that can be very perplexing, because each entity is slightly different, and their approach is different. And so I wanted our viewers to know that, again, if you do business with one entity doesn't mean they're going to do it the other way. And these are mostly good faith efforts. And so it means that we're going to try our best to do business with you, but equally in that process, we're going to help you. We're going to help you navigate that process. We're going to enhance your opportunities, educate you. And like Anthony said, if you're not even aware of the opportunity, how can you take advantage of it? So again, equally that helps. Getting back to you guys, so our audience is going to want to get your pens ready. How do they reach you? How do they contact you? What are some of the events coming up that you need to inform the community? So Anthony, I'm going to start with you. Other than paying my toll time, I see your name, call me. How do people reach you?
Thank you, Eddie. First, I'm going to give you my direct line. I think relationships and knowing who to contact to help you to navigate the process is so very important. I can be reached at 214-224-2288. Again, that's 214-224-2288. That's my direct line. My email address is acoleman@ntta.org. Again, that's ACOLEMAN@ntta.org.
Thank you.
And if anyone needs to get in contact with me, my direct phone number is 817-459-6263. Again, that's 817-459-6263. And my email address is going to be long, so do be careful. It's Reginald, REGINALD, .Cleveland, CLEVELAND, at arlingtontx.gov. So again, the email address is reginald.cleveland@arlingtontx.gov.